Mohim for Boxing Domination, and today I'm joined by Daniel Bailey, The Dedication, and Rolando Moreno, both joining me from Tallahassee, Florida, Miami.
No,
No,
Miami, Florida,
Miami, Florida. I
And,
always get it
and
and
wrong.
Bailey
Houston,
and Bailey's in
Texas.
Houston, Texas.
Yes,
Brilliant,
sir.
guys. How is life treating you guys? And thank you for coming on.
Man, I'm excited, man. I'm really excited. We've had a Daniel Bailey's had an incredible, incredible training camp. He's looking smooth, but he is going into the Lions Den tomorrow. Okay, he is fighting a very good Mexican boxer in Houston, Texas on Cinco de Mayo weekend. Okay, so Eduardo Vasquez, but man, I have so much confidence in our guy. I have so much confidence in our guy. It got a little heated today at the weigh-in. It got a little heated today at the weigh-in. I expect that from my man Bailey always. He makes it exciting.
Especially at weigh-ins, right?
Yes, exactly.
Um, so I'm grateful to be in this position. I had an incredible camp thanks to my team. They put me in position to get the best training possible, and I'm just grateful. I feel like the way I feel right now, emotionally, physically, is just like how Da Vinci probably felt when he was creating the Mona Lisa.
That's great.
Yeah. Tomorrow night, of course, you're fighting Edward Vasquez, who's had two very close fights, against two world operators, Raymond Ford and Joe Cordina, in which a lot of people had Vasquez actually winning. Um, Tell me about your training prep for this fight, and yeah, yeah, just tell me about you know your prep for this fight.
Okay, so man, preparation was crazy. I had three sparring partners doing 10 rounds at a time each sparring session. After that, continue to train, going back in the evening time to do another training session, and then coming back at night to do a cardio session. I've always been someone to put a lot of work in. They don't call me the dedication for no reason. So I've always been one to put in the work. So when I got the call, it wasn't a matter. It wasn't a question of if I was ready or not. I was already ready, and it was just a question of, oh, is this a good style for me to compete against? And when I saw how slow footed he was and how a volume puncher with no punching power, I just feel like just can't sit in the ring with me. I got speed, I got footwork, I got power, and I have great counter punching abilities. And tomorrow, like I said before, I'll be Da Vinci painting his Mona Lisa.
That's a great way to put it. Your last fight was against Dion Jones at the TCL. Correct me if
Yes,
I'm
sir.
wrong. Um, Obviously from TCL, you got about a round in, and then now you're fighting literally a world operator in Edward Vasquez. Um, what's the mental preparation before going into a fight so soon, straight after the TCL?
So I recently fought on Muno boxing card with my with one of my family members, Rolly. He put me in a position where I'm not coming off of the bench, basically. I'm coming from a fight, a really good fight, a really tough fight, and then going into the TCL, it was just like a flowing thing. Like I'm flowing right now. That's why I know tomorrow I'm gonna watch him because I'm flowing. I'm in my rhythm. You understand? Mentally, I seen what he has done as far as he lost to two game fighters, but I don't think either of those fighters have the ability or have the ability that I have, and I feel like I'm going to put on a stellar performance, and I believe that I'll be the first one to stop Edwin. I don't think it's going to be a close fight at all.
I think this is going to
Yeah,
be a. Yep. Sorry.
yeah. I feel honestly, I feel the same way. A part of, when we met with Bailey this year, one of our goals was we wanted to keep him extremely active.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
extremely active. He's getting sharper and sharper. It's incredible. It's not only from fight to fight, but from sparring sessions to sparring sessions. He's just at optimal level. and Mr. Vasquez has taken some time off. You know, I think he's going to run into a buzzsaw. I don't think it's going to be close either. I really don't. I know the guy has a pedigree. He has fought, you know, some world contenders. He's actually fought some world champions, and I think an IBO and a WBA, you know, champion. But again, I think with the layoff, you know, you have to understand that the particular gym that Bailey trains in, it's a high level gym. There's only real pros and world champs there. You know, I can ring off a, you know, a laundry list of world champs that these guys, and it doesn't matter weight class, anything, they just bang it out, you know. So
Sure.
it's an elite training camp. It's an elite gym. You know, it's a gym that has no nonsense. It's a gym where everyone knows if you want to get good quality sparring, they come from all around the country. I'm legit all around the country, you know. So you know, I respect Mexican fighters, but I think I think, and especially from his comments today and a lot of the comments that they were doing at the weigh-in, I think, you know, they're underestimating what they're about to get into.
The last time you actually,
Absolutely.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I feel like he's spot on.
Hmm.
Underestimating me is the worst thing you could do. I feel like when I got the call to fight Vasquez, that made me get up even earlier. That made me work even harder. I don't sit there and look at a fighter and think, oh, he not on my level or anything like that, because then it's hard to show up for guys like that. It's hard to get up for guys who aren't on your level. When I get in there, that's why I always say, I'm backtrack a little bit. That's why I always say Floyd Mayweather is a more humble fighter than Mike Tyson, because he got up and trained hard for each and every fight. He never got in the mode of, oh, I don't have to train too hard for this guy because this guy beat this guy or anything like that. These guys see one loss on my record and they counting me out. But tomorrow, I'm going to make a lot of non-believers believers.
That's right. That's right. And the last time you actually had a 6 round fight, that was on Rolando's card at the Tropical Park. You got a
Mhm.
Yes,
fifth
sir.
round stoppage over Jerson Ortiz. It was
Correct.
a fifth round KO. Tell me, since you've come back from that, of course, you know, we've seen this confrontation between you and you know, fellow fighter Manny Correa. I want to sort of ask you a bit about that, and also I want to get some thoughts from the main man, Rolando Moreno himself as well.
Yes, sir. That's the way.
So we'll start with Daniel, for example. Is that a fight that, you know, interests you? And can you tell me about like how the whole beef sort of brewed up?
Similar weight classes, similar records. So I was just like, why not make this fight happen? It could be a big showing in Miami. You know, some fighters, they think logically and some fighters think emotionally. And I believe Manny is a guy who think he's more emotional than anything. So he took it as a personal thing. But for me, it's all business. And I feel like it's a way for us to both move up in the rankings because we both have really good records. We're both from Miami. So it's a great opportunity to bring the city out. And also it's a great opportunity to rise our skill levels up. I'm willing to make that fight at 130 pounds because that's what I'm ranked at. So I don't want to fight at 135 if I'm not ranked at 135, you know? 130, let's make it a fight that will bring out the entire city. But if he doesn't want to do that, because he's a diva to me. So I'm really not confident that the fight will happen because of how much of a diva he is. He has this inflated ego and he thinks he's a world champion and he hasn't even seen a belt yet. He haven't even blown dust off a belt yet. And that's just a straight fact. You can act like a champion all you want to, but you got to put the work in. You can't sit here and talk like a champion. You can't sit here and dress like a champion, but then when it's time to make the real fights, you don't make the real fights. You want to act like a diva and make everything, oh, it got to go my way or I'm not fighting. I'm not for that. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be a champion. And tomorrow I'm gonna show that again in my fight that I'm levels ahead of this guy.
Now, I want to get the point of view from Rolando as a promoter manager, of course, you know, in
Yeah,
boxing. How do you see
yeah.
that?
The thing, this is the thing. Unfortunately, from where I'm standing right now, I think that ship sailed. Okay, because I'm confident that Bailey's gonna get a win tomorrow. And once that happens, we're going past local events at that point. Okay.
Yes,
At that point, we're going past local events. At that point, we're starting to sniff some real title shots. Okay. As you can see, Bailey is a very marketable fighter. He's a very exciting fighter. He's good pre, post, and fight. Those are things that sell. He's a good looking guy. He likes to bang. He had great defense. He's fast. So the thing is, once we get a quality win from a guy like Edward Vasquez, I think that ship sailed. Unfortunately, because I would have liked to seen it, because I actually do like both fighters. I've known Manny forever. I think it would be a very cool fight, for Miami. But I would think Manny would have to then put in the work himself and start elevating up the world rankings, to then maybe we could do something on later on in the future,
Right.
for as a Miami event, but with world standing. That's the way I see it.
Of course, Daniel is ranked 25 in America right now, and if he gets through Edward Vasquez,
When
of
I
course
get through him.
the moment you get through him, that's
Yes,
when
sir.
you'll be ranked definitely within the top 10. Especially if you get a knockout, you'll probably be ranked
Yeah.
within the top 7. The top 3 right now are Raymond Ford, Angelo, Leo, and Ruben Villa. Of course, these are 3 fights in 3 different broadcasters: Pro Box TV, The Zone, and ESPN. Do those fights interest you, or do you maybe want to climb up through the mandatory rankings and the rankings, or do you want to dive straight in? Because the Saudis are in with Raymond Ford right now as well, and it's a fantastic time to mix in for titles.
Anyone who's at 130 pounds who carries a belt or any ranking that's higher than mine can get it. I'm not holding nobody's hand.
Yeah,
I'm ready to show my talent. I'm ready to show my skills. I'm ready to show my dedication. I'm ready to show my work ethic. If you want to be great, you got to work like the greats. And I've been working like the greats. I've been working with the greats, and it's just going to be great business for everybody involved.
Yeah, and Mo, and you know what? We decided as a team that we weren't going to stay still here. Okay, Bailey's going to go right back to TCL. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna keep him active. I'm already actively pursuing potentially another fight in May, because we want to get him to a point that, number one, he's just so sharp, so sharp that we're gonna put him in a position where he has to be a mandatory. He just has to be. He's just like, so we're not picking, we're not choosing. We're not discussing rehydration clauses. We're not discussing catch weights. No, we're gonna put him in a position where you own that title. Either you vacate or you fight.
Yes, sir.
It's that simple. Because we're trying to do things right. We're really trying to do things right. Like things should be done. I think a fighter, has to remain active, has to get sharp, and make sure that he's building his record, building his performance. We have an incredible world-class trainer, in Herman Calcedo. An incredible team. We've even, Bailey even gets, coaching from Luis Ortiz King Kong,
Right.
who's an elite fighter, with a Cuban pedigree, who's fought the best, so this is a world-class operation, and we're gonna make sure that we do things in a world-class manner.
Yes,
in
sir.
in terms of you, Rolando, I got a question for you. In terms of you, you've put on the show back in March. Do you still plan of putting on more and more shows going forward this year, or is there more focus on the TCO and those things?
No. Well, I don't have anything to do with TCL. Actually, what I'm actually doing, we expect to put on another show in August. But what we're trying to do is actually do some collaborations with some pretty big promoters. You know that we kind of we lock in the streaming services, we lock in all these events, and kind of each of us piggyback off of our events, because I think the great purpose is, look, in the old days, how many times would Mike Tyson fight a
13
year?
times.
Okay, right, 13 times. Right.
Right.
And he built up an impressive record. The problem that's happening now is that, you know what, fighters are just not active enough. They're just
No.
not active enough, and like anything, and maybe not for a guy who's nicknamed the Dedication, who's always in shape. He's always, he's always eating well. He's always monitoring, his health. But for a lot of fighters, inactivity causes attrition, both muscular attrition and discipline. Life happens, So I think what we're trying to do is create a system where, we have some cooperation from a lot of these big promotional companies. So I could tell a boxer like Daniel, hey, you could fight May 15th, August 15th, June 15th, July 15th. Pick one, but you're fighting. You follow me?
Right.
So that, like barring a knockdown, he could fight in 3 weeks. No problem. So that's our mode right now. That's what our plan of action is.
And of course, last month, Ardi and Dembo passed away after the TCL tournament. So, just want to give my condolence to him and his family. In
Yeah.
terms
May
of
Allah be pleased with him.
Yeah.
in terms of Daniel, right? If you can fight in any venues around the world, a lot of people have Madison Square Garden. Nowadays, everyone's saying Saudi Arabia. If you can fight in any venues of your choice, anywhere, or same question goes for Rolando. If you can put on a show in any venues around the world, where would it be?
Madison Square Garden.
That's a great choice. What, Garden Theatre or the Garden?
I want the theater.
Theatre.
I
Main
want the
event.
theater. Yes, sir. The
And
brightest
how,
lights.
No, mine. I really dislike going to New York. So I'll join you. I'll make the exception. Okay, but I'd rather fight at the MGM, old school, in Las
MGM Grand.
Vegas.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yes,
unbelievable.
yes, yes.
Now, just a bit off related to the whole Daniel Bailey thing, which I'm going to get back to Daniel Bailey in a second. Just last night, we found out that Ryan Garcia actually failed his drug test for Ostarine. Now, I want to get from a fighter's perspective, and of course, as a promoter's perspective as well. What were your thoughts on that fight with Devin Haney and the whole drug scandal that's going on right now in boxing?
So first things first, he had an amazing performance, and he didn't fight the perfect fight, but in the spots that he was perfect, it was perfect, if that makes sense. He landed some incredible, he was explosive. That was the thing that stuck out to me the most, was how explosive he was. Do I believe that he actually popped hot? No, because who takes a fat burner the day before a weigh-in and still doesn't make weight? Things like that. That's something to take into account. Then you got to also think about, they've been testing him all up until this point, and nothing came back positive. Out of nowhere, he gets the victory, and now people who have money involved are throwing out a narrative to take credibility away from that fighter. So I'm not a fan of that.
And from your point of view?
From my point of view, I'm gonna take a different approach.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell and I'm gonna leave the conspiracy theories aside, okay? Because you know what, Bailey does have a point. Well, you know what? They get drug tested in a mega fight like this several times, and now it comes out post fight, post decision, post event. However, it's not going to affect Ryan Garcia a bit. other than maybe he's going to have to do a 6-month suspension, maybe assuming it gets proven. But at the end of the day, and I think in the state of boxing today, okay, you know, him not going in at weight, at the end of the day, for him, given his popularity, it didn't matter if he won a belt. It didn't matter if he won. It didn't matter that performance. You know, it didn't matter. You know, now I think, you know, and this will be the argument if I was Ryan Garcia's promoter and defending him. I go, okay, I think given the referee's behavior in that fight, this should be a wash. This should be a wash. Let's just forget it. Let's just walk away from this, okay? Because it was crazy. It was bad when I was watching it live, but if you see the fight again, it was really, really, you know, pronounced. And
you actually called for an upset. I still remember you kept calling for it all week, and I was thinking, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one, but you actually called it.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I made more money on that bet than putting on events this year. so I made money with Ryan Garcia, but you know, so yeah, I knew that number one, you know, and I think Daniel could attest to this. They fought 6 times. When you fight 6 times, there's a certain amount of comfort level. You know, you're basing this fight based on things and experiences you've had. You know, it wasn't a little known secret that, you know, Ryan Garcia had the speed advantage and the power advantage, but pronounced, but like crazy. Now, what I thought was genius was everyone thinking that this guy's drinking, smoking, just not training, going crazy, missing weight, right? I think that put Haney in a mental disadvantage, thinking, well, this is gonna be like a walk in the park. I'm just gonna outlast this guy, you know. But I think, and especially, you know why when I posted the thing that I knew there was an upset, when Bill Haney told Ryan Garcia, "We'll meet you in the middle of the ring."
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Right? like if I was training a guy who was gonna go fight a Ryan Garcia power hitter like that, instead of like round 1, instead of telling my fighter, okay, go meet him in the middle of the ring, why don't you take a walk around the ring? Just take your time. Go waste 15 seconds. Have him chase you a little. Okay, you know? But it was incredible. That's why I go, there's no way that, and once Bill Haney said, yeah, I'm gonna meet him, we're gonna meet him in the middle, I'm like, oh boy, this is gonna get bad. And sure enough, it happened like 45 seconds in, you know.
One thing I've realized was Devin Haney's boxing boots were actually, it looks like a woman's boots because it was all fluffy. Right. And one of the trainers, world renowned trainer from the UK, Dominic Ingle, son of Brendan Ingle, actually even mentioned every single time Kell Brook used to have a chance at this, he used to always tell him, wear shoes, wear boxing boots that are not brand new, wear something that you're used to so that on the night you don't have injuries, you don't end up having like an accident, for example. That could have cost them the fight completely. Do you agree with that? And what's your stance on situations like this? It's my last question on that.
Honestly speaking, I feel like when you go into a fight, you should always have a certain level of comfortability with your equipment. That's your tools. Like, that's like a businessman going to a meeting with no briefcase. You got to be familiar with your tools, and you got to understand what you're dealing with. As far as if I'm wearing a certain pair of boxing shoes on fight night, guarantee I sparred in those boxing shoes plenty of times. Even if you was to go and say, okay, I don't want to fight in dirty boxing shoes, you could still buy the same exact shoe and be training in it, and then the week of the fight, you start training in those new boxing shoes just to get familiar with the situation. So it's just like small things, and I feel like Ryan acting like he wasn't ready was just art of war. Yeah. I'm gonna make you think I'm not training. I'm gonna make you think I'm not on your like old boy told me I'm not on your level. Okay, underestimate me because then that's when the fireworks start happening. Fight night, the fireworks gonna come out and it's gonna be an amazing blast.
I
My
agree.
bad, I go my rants.
Now, Daniel, I've asked this to Rolando last time, and we've had this exclusive thing up, and now I want to ask you, what made you want to start boxing?
Honestly speaking, I started boxing at the age of 11, and what turned me onto the sport, no diddy, was I watched Rocky's training montage, and then I seen Floyd Mayweather doing a training video, his training motivation video, and from that point on, I was like, I'm gonna be a real champion. But I was saying I was gonna be a heavyweight champion, right? Little did I know I was gonna grow to be 5'8" and weigh 130 pounds soaking wet. So,
Wow.
and after
That's awesome.
that, I was just like, that's why when people ask me, oh, why did I go with the dedication? Man, I love being in the gym. I love being training. I love being at the gym every single day. Like I live at the gym, literally. Room 2, but I'm not 2. I'm number 1.
That's unbelievable. And your fight against Edward Vasquez. We're going to
Yes,
keep
sir.
this interview, slightly towards the end now. What
Yes,
are we
sir.
expecting from the dedication tomorrow night? And give me a prediction. Give me a prediction because I want to know
Prediction.
what round.
What round?
What round? We
Round
want to know
2.
what round. Round two.
Round 2, round 3 at most. Listen, this is child. Call the police. This is child abuse. I'm gonna beat a kid ass. I'm gonna beat a kid ass. They gonna have to call the police on me because I'm gonna have everybody in shock. Everybody gonna be like, did that really just happen? I'm
Yeah.
too sharp. I'm too explosive. I've been in there. I've been in there sparring with guys who haven't lost a fight before. So I'm in there with dogs. And if you're a dog with dogs, then you're gonna dog somebody else who ain't been in there with dogs. So underestimate me all you want to. Edwin, the kid Vasquez. Tomorrow you're gonna have to pay. I'm not gonna fake like I'm not ready. I'm more than ready. I'm gonna pitch a shutout. I'm gonna stop this guy and I'm gonna show the best version of myself. No one has ever seen this version of Bailey. Tomorrow night, everyone will be impressed. I will stop this guy. I will be the first fighter to stop this guy. And then I'm going to have my ticket to the next level. He's the gatekeeper. I need that ticket. Come on, give me that ticket. I need that ticket, please, sir.
Live on the
Yes, sir.
zone. Live on the zone. It's going to be an explosive night. We have that fight, and
Explosive.
then we have Canelo versus Jaime Munguia, a fight. A lot of people think it is a mismatch, as they would have preferred a fight with David Benavidez. Of course, two massive fights on Cinco de Mayo. Rolando, I haven't heard
Mhm.
anything from you. What are we expecting from your point of view?
From Canelo and Munguia.
Now he's talking about the real main event.
Both,
Oh,
both of them, both of
oh,
them.
okay.
I need your prediction.
Oh,
Your predictions are never
my
wrong.
listen, my prediction. I'll tell you my prediction. Um, I've been watching some of Vasquez's fights. He is a volume guy, but he doesn't crack. He just doesn't. You know, um, Bailey. What happens with volume guys, okay, is that they run into a problem when you run into a real slick counterpuncher. All right. Because you throw one punch in a bad angle, you're gonna get one on the chin. Okay. And I think I don't think he's fought someone who's defensively as a counter fighter as Bailey is. And one of the things that is just great. We had a lot of good fights in our event at Tropical Park, and Gulo, Lorenzo Medina, Gustavo Trujillo, the Cuban assassin. We had a lot of good fights. The only fight being sports talked about was Daniel Bailey's. Okay, and it was like they just loved it because it's a real crowd pleasing fighter. Okay, I don't love some of his antics, putting his hands behind his back. Okay, but
Yes,
That's
sir.
just me. I'm more conservative that way, you know. But
Nah, this gonna be the most focused you'll see me in the ring as well,
good.
man.
Okay, good,
I'm not here to play any games. No
good, good.
Xbox, no Xbox, no GameCube, none of that. I don't play with kids.
That's right. There you go. There you go. So I'm glad to hear that. So my my prediction is a second round. That's my prediction.
And your quick prediction on the Canelo versus Munguia.
Munguia maybe in a couple of years, buddy. To be
But it's not
honest
the
with
time
you.
yet.
Yeah, it's not
I
his
believe
time.
it's gonna go to the UD.
Yeah.
Shutout.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's gonna be a unanimous decision. Um, you know, I'm a little concerned, with Canelo's recent lack of knockouts.
Hmm.
You know, they had I think they bought a they have a common opponent. I forgot his name, the British fighter,
John Ryder.
that guy, and and he went the distance with Canelo, and I think Munguia knocked him out in 2 rounds, right? But
Yeah.
I think that's an illusion. I do think that's an illusion.
Oh,
I think Canelo's just too savvy and it's too strong.
yeah,
But I don't think he's knocking him out though.
it's really styles make fights, isn't it?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And that's an interview wrapped. Make sure to watch the Edward Vasquez versus the Dedication Daniel Bailey tomorrow night live on the Zone. Thank you,
Yes,
gents.
sir.
Thank you, Mo.
Hey,
Appreciate
thank you
it.
for having us, brother. Have a good one.